Hello, I'm attorney Dan Marr. I'm a New Hampshire lawyer here at Nashua, New Hampshire at Hamblett Kerrigan. I've been practicing both in licensed in New Hampshire for about 38 to 39 years, and in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I've been licensed and practicing for approximately 28 years. And during that period of time, I've discussed with employers and represented employers on a variety of employment issues. And today I'm going to be talking about tobacco use and the New Hampshire workplace. So what you as a New Hampshire employer can do and what you're required to do in regards to your New Hampshire workplace. Now, New Hampshire has a indoor smoking act. It applies equally to e-cigarettes and regular cigarettes, but you're banned under not just employment, all indoor spaces, you're banned from having smoking. You can have some segregated spaces, but most people are smart enough, most businesses are smart enough not to do that. It'd be a very bad decision, by way of example, to have a segregated workplace that you're allowing somebody to smoke in a break room, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But generally, you're banned from that, so you have every single right as an employer to ban smoking throughout the workplace. And you can have workplace rules in regards to that. What you can't have, though, is since 1992, I expect the tobacco industry lobbied the legislature. There's actually a law out there that prohibits you from, as an employer, from discriminating against employees for using tobacco outside the workplace, provided they follow their workplace rules. So they chew tobacco, they do e-cigarettes, they smoke cigarettes, but they do it all outside the workplace. But you're looking at this and you're saying, well, this person is more likely to be ill. This person is going to be more likely to be taking more breaks than what they're allowed to take because they have the needs to go out for a cigarette break. And I just don't want to deal with that. That logic seems to make a lot of sense. And I'm saying that I think the law is a very bad law. I think RSA 275-37A, who's been around since 1992, any of you listening to this, I would encourage you to talk to your legislators and try to get it repealed, because it's a very bad statute. Suggesting that smokers have more rights, that's like it's a drug, and it's like any other drug. Should you have some rights to employment based upon that? And no, I think employers should be able to make the decision not to hire somebody that's a smoker or any tobacco use. And that's something that, again, I think the lobbyists back in 1992 dealt with. It's 2025 now. We're getting into 2026. It's time to change that law. And I know that's not just me talking as the legal advice, but as employers out there, if you want to do that, I would certainly encourage you to talk to your legislators and talk about repealing RSA 275:37A, prohibiting discrimination against smokers that smoke outside the workplace. Now, if you're an employer and you're dealing with this statute itself, you do have the rights to go and say that people can't come in with the smoke emanating from their clothes or their hair or the like. So they come in and they smell a smoke because of their smoke break that they took. You can have those regulations. You can prevent them from affecting other people in the workplace by coming in from a smoke break and saying, well, I needed my cigarette to deal with it. No, you don't have to. You can prohibit what they're doing when they're coming in and the smells that they have as the cigarettes related to this. Now, I'll tell you also, there's a statute specifically dealing with certain hairstyles. So if there's certain other things that people are taking, there's other smells out there, you want to be careful to make sure you're not talking about some other hair preparation or something like that. Those are very legitimate, and frankly, personally, I thoroughly understand why those should be statutes out there in their new statutes. But the smoking statute, seriously consider that if you're an employer and you don't like that, talking to your legislature about getting rid of this law that's been around since 1992. It doesn't seem to have been getting any traction of getting rid of, but it's time in coming into 2026 to get rid of that law. But if you're dealing with these issues, take a look at the specifically as to your own restrictions. You don't have to have somebody emanating smell from their smoke break. You certainly don't have to have them smoking outside the workplace right in front of the vent outside the house, outside the property. If they're complaining about it being too cold out there in January or February in New Hampshire, so what? They don't have that right to go and say, no, I need to work, I need to smoke in the workplace. They don't have those rights. And you have an indoor smoking act that applies, that is a very legitimate reason to ban them from there. And if you're a landlord, certainly you want to ban smoking, or I would certainly recommend my commercial buildings, of my commercial clients, I ban smoking in the building. And if they're going outside and they're working, and the tenants, employees going outside and smoking in what they claim as a designated smoke area, but their ventilation, as a landlord, you should certainly talk about that and prohibit that, so that you don't get smoke coming through to the other tenants, or even that tenant. So you can do that. You have an indoor smoking act that's across the board, employer or any other business, and that applies. But then the one that's time to change is the 1992 no discrimination against employees that are smoking outside the workplace. Of course, you can prevent them from smoking in the workplace. Of course, you can prevent them from coming in reeking of cigarettes when they've gone for the smoke break. But prohibiting them from actually smoking outside the workplace, right now, the law says you can't do that. So be careful about that. Talk to an attorney if you're thinking about those issues. And again, I think it's definitely time for you to lobby, if you're interested in this topic, with your legislator to get that overturned. It's RSA 275:37A. It's been around since 1992. I think it was created by the tobacco lobbyists, and it's time to change in 2020, coming into 2026. If you have any questions, you can make a call at 603-883-5501, 603-883-5501. I've been representing employers for 30 plus years, and I'm happy to talk to you about any employment-related issues, both in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. You can also check out my weekly vlogs at the website of our firm, Nashua Law, all one word.com, nashualaw.com. Check out my personal bio, and then you can look at the weekly vlogs based upon topics. Look forward to working with you if the opportunity arises. Thank you.